Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Laura Train Mama. Today we are having a look at the second story contained within the Thomas and Friends Friendship Collection. The first story we'll be reading today is called The Great Railway Show. Enjoy. One sunny day on the Island of Sodor, Thomas the Tank Engine saw a shiny new engine in Vickerstown Station. "That's my brother, the Flying Scotsman," Gordon said with a sigh. The Flying Scotsman was going to the Great Railway Show on the mainland. That's where engines compete to see who's fastest and strongest, he explained. Thomas was excited. He wanted to go too. Thomas thought that if some streamlining could be added to an engine from Sodor, it could win races at the show. "What an excellent idea," said Sir Topham Hatt. "We'll streamline Gordon, and he'll be faster than ever." Gordon? That was not what Thomas had in mind. The next day, a railway ferry delivered engines from all over the world to Brenham Docks. "Where are you going?" the dock manager asked. "The Great Railway Show," puffed a streamlined engine from Belgium. "That'll be on the mainland," the manager replied. The engines jostled and pushed past Thomas as they got back on the ferry. Rushing for the departing ferry, a brightly painted engine named Ashima bumped into Thomas. "Whoa!" he peeped as he teetered on the edge of the quay. Dock workers quickly wrapped a chain around Thomas's coupling hook. Ashima helped pull him to safety. Ashima apologized to Thomas and asked about another way to get to the mainland. Thomas didn't answer. He just chugged away in a huff. "Why should she get to go to the Great Railway Show?" Thomas puffed. "Well, she's very beautifully painted," Clarabelle said. That gave Thomas an idea. Off he sped to the steamworks. Thomas asked Victor to repaint him with lightning bolts and racing stripes. Just then, Sir Topham Hatt came by to check on Gordon's streamlining. He liked the idea of a speedy-looking paint job, but not for Thomas. Meanwhile, over at the Diesel Works, Diesel had his own idea. He wanted to disguise Paxton, Den, and Dart as trucks and pretend to pull them. "It'll look like I'm pulling a very heavy train by myself," he said, snickering. "If Sir Topham Hatt thinks I'm stronger than Henry, he'll take me to the Great Railway Show instead." Later that day, Thomas met Ashima again. She didn't understand why Thomas had wanted to be repainted. "You can only be you," she tooted. "Every engine I've ever known was useful and had a job to do." Ashima asked if Thomas was good at shunting and sorting trucks. "Yes," Thomas peeped. And then he had his best idea yet for going to the Great Railway Show. "I'll show Sir Topham Hatt what I can do best." The next day, Thomas went to practice his shunting at Knapford Station. The rails were blocked by Diesel's tricky trucks, so Thomas decided to move them. "What are you doing?" Diesel hissed. "You'll spoil my trick." Thomas began to pull the disguised Diesels. He was surprised by how easily and fast everything moved. He tried to stop at a red signal ahead, but the Diesels kept pushing because they couldn't hear the warning bell. Crash! Thomas collided with a passing engine. Now, what will happen? Is Thomas all right? Will he go to the Great Railway Show? And if he does, what will happen there? To find out, turn this book over and right side up and begin reading. Let's do that now, shall we? Story 2. Off to the races. It was the day of the Great Railway Show. All the engines on Sodor were excited. The engines Sir Topham Hatt had chosen were ready to go. Gordon had been painted and streamlined. He even had a new nameplate, the Shooting Star. Sir Topham Hatt had wanted Thomas to compete in the shunting challenge, but after his accident at the Diesel Works, Thomas needed some repairs. Percy was going in his place. Thomas tooted goodbye to the engines. He even wished Ashima good luck. Victor soon discovered that Gordon's safety valve hadn't been installed after his streamlining. Without it, he could overheat during his race. Even though his own repairs weren't done, Thomas took the valve to Gordon. At the Great Railway Show, Thomas found Gordon at the starting line of the great race. Gordon didn't believe that the Steamworks team had made a mistake, and the race was starting. A whistle blew, and the engines were off. Gordon sped down the tracks. "Shooting star coming through," he tooted. Suddenly, his face turned red. Steam hissed from inside his streamlining. Gordon's brother, the Flying Scotsman, told him something was wrong, but Gordon wouldn't listen. Then his boiler burst. He spluttered to a stop in a cloud of steam as the other engines raced past. Meanwhile, over at the shunting challenge, Percy was too scared to enter the race. He wanted Thomas to compete in his place, which had been the original plan. "Okay," Thomas peeped, "but I might not win, you know." Thomas chuffed through round after round, pulling tankers and flatbeds into line. He did better than the engines from Russia, Italy and Brazil. In the end, there were only 2 engines left, Thomas and Ashima. A whistle blew, and the final challenge began. The 2 engines steamed back and forth, buffering boxcars into place. Soon their sidings were full. Now it was a race to the finish line. Then Thomas noticed an overturned truck on Ashima's track. He sped up to push it out of her way. Ashima raced to victory. "Thomas, you let me win," Ashima peeped. "Your track was blocked," Thomas replied. "It wouldn't have been a fair competition at the end." A little while later, everyone gathered for the award ceremony. "We would like to declare the 2 winners in the shunting challenge," a judge announced. "Ashima wins for the fastest time, and Thomas also wins for helping his competitor." All the engines whistled and cheered. Even Gordon's brother, the Flying Scotsman, admitted that he was impressed with the engines from Sodor. Sir Topham Hatt was proud of Thomas for being rarely useful and very thoughtful too. "He was just being himself, sir," peeped Percy. "You can only be you," Thomas puffed. He winked at Ashima. "There's nothing else you can possibly do." That brings us to the end of story number 2. And this is the second story that we're reading from the Friendship Collection. What did you think? Let me know. And have a great day.